If you'd like to use the pleat fold and pleat sew tool, even for an individual pleat like this, I would recommend putting a third line in here. And so you can do this a couple ways. You can select your line and offset as internal line. So I'm going to go number of offset, distance, I'm going to do 1/2 inch because that's the value. Reverse direction, and I would like not to extend. So I've just created another internal line. Based on the one I selected. Or the alternative to that, I'm just going to delete this line, is you can create a point that is a 1/2 inch, which is my value of my pleat here, 1/2 inch away from your first line. And then in edit pattern, right click on that point and create a perpendicular internal line that's perpendicular to the x-axis. And I'm going to make the length 3 inches, which is the same value as my other lines. So 2 different ways to do the same thing, but essentially I'm just adding another line here. So if I want to use the pleat fold tool, select that function, and it gives you a cursor with a little point on it. You're going to drag, you're going to click and drag, click and hover over the 3 lines that define your pleats and double click to end that. And it's going to ask you what type of pleat you want. I'm going to do a knife pleat because it's actually going to look like a box pleat when because it's mirrored. The number of internal lines I have to define is 3. And you can see that the outside fold is just like I've got here in my picture. It's 0. The inside fold is 360. So outside, inside, and that's the line to which things are being sewn. I could switch the direction of that. And so I've just changed the colors of mine. So now the inside fold is 360 and that's the outside fold of 0. So it's essentially making the overlay different. It's now like an underlay on the middle part. So I'm going to go with that direction. It's essentially an inverse pleat. Okay, so you can do either direction, just keeping aware of what the colors mean and where the folding's happening. Okay, so I can see that my lines have changed color, which indicates that the pleat function has been established. And now I'm going to go into pleat sewing. So in this case, again, I'm going to select the line on which I want to sew. My little segment here is my sew line. And I'm going to begin to sew, and it's going to define the sewing relationship based on 3 segments. You do have to have 3 segments to 1 for the pleat sewing to work properly. When you click that, it's done. And hopefully it repeats it on the other side here. So look at my sewing relationships. It does mimic that because I'm mirrored both my pieces, and I'm going to set up my relationship here. Okay, so now I'm not currently strengthened, but pleating always works better if you strengthen the piece that's pleated to begin with. And my relationships are set up. No lines are crossing, so I'm going to simulate that. And it gives me a nice inverted box pleat. So I'm going to stop simulation, click off so you can see the lines. I do see that there is a bit of business here. It looks like some triangles at the top. So I'm going to check my particle distance for that piece. My particle distance is quite high. It's at 20, so I'm going to reduce that down to 10. And that does make the pleat look nicer as well. Okay, and I'm going to remove my strengthening and click off it. And you can see that the pleat is very nice.